Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. The 2nd century after the era of Christ represented a period of immense historical significance in Judea, shrouded under the shadow of Roman occupation. The region witnessed a crucial intersection of political, religious, and cultural factors. The Temple of Jerusalem, central to religious and cultural life, became a point of conflict and power. Roman presence imposed a governance system that restricted the autonomy of local authorities, creating a complex relationship between Jewish religious leaders and Roman authorities. Roman imposition had a direct impact on daily life, culture, and governance in Judea. The occupation not only brought with it a dominant military presence but also established a system of taxation and political control. The temple, as a spiritual and religious epicenter, annually attracted thousands of pilgrims, giving it not only religious significance but also high political value. In this tense context of Roman occupation and intense religious tensions, figures like Caiaphas and Annas emerged as influential leaders. Their positions as high priests not only placed them at the center of Jewish religious life but also transformed them into crucial political figures with power over the temple and its practices. The relationship between Jewish religious leaders and Romans was marked by constant tension driven by the fear of revolts and the pursuit of privilege preservation. This historical backdrop is crucial to understanding the actions and decisions of figures like Caiaphas and Annas, especially concerning the arrest, trial, and crucifixion of Jesus. I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to not miss any details of this intriguing story. The priests who killed Jesus, Annas and Caiaphas. The quest for autonomy, the preservation of order in the temple, and the complex relations between Jewish and Roman authorities made this period a crucial chapter in the history of Judea in the 2nd century after Christ, leaving a legacy of events that continue to influence the understanding of the biblical and historical narrative. Annas and Caiaphas held prominent positions in the context of Judea in the 2nd century after Christ. Both were prominent religious leaders, playing crucial roles in the Temple of Jerusalem and the Jewish community of the time. Annas held the position of high priest not just once but multiple times, establishing a priestly dynasty in his family. This repetition of the office further highlighted his importance in the religious leadership of the time. Additionally, Annas instituted a system of appointments within his family, ensuring the continuity of religious power in his lineage. While holding the position of high priest, Annas wielded considerable influence over the Temple of Jerusalem. He oversaw rituals, administered sacrifices, and ensured the compliance with religious laws. His position extended beyond the religious aspect. Annas also exercised control over the temple's revenues and financial transactions, including currency exchange. However, his reputation for corruption and connection to questionable practices shed light on his complex personality. In turn, Caiaphas married Annas's daughter and was appointed high priest around the year 18 after Christ, marking a crucial point in the biblical narrative. This marriage established a robust alliance between two prominent families in Judea in the 2nd century after Christ. By becoming Annas's son-in-law, Caiaphas not only established a personal connection but also entered into a priestly dynasty that wielded considerable control over religious and political affairs in the region. This dynasty, marked by notable continuity in the high priesthood, witnessed both Annas and 5 of his sons, along with Caiaphas, occupying this position. This succession not only underscores the close relationship between these figures but also highlights the enduring influence of the family in the religious leadership of Judea. Caiaphas was recognized for his cunning, opportunism, and relentless pursuit of power. His ability to navigate the intricate political and religious relations of the time placed him in a prominent position. Annas and Caiaphas were members of a sect that did not share the belief in the resurrection of the dead and the final judgment, possibly a Pharisaic sect with convictions distinct from contemporary Jewish currents. These beliefs shaped their approaches to religious and political issues, influencing their decisions and actions during this critical period. Both leaders emerged in a tense context of Roman occupation, playing crucial roles in the plot that culminated in the crucifixion of Jesus. Understanding who Caiaphas and Annas were helps unravel the significant events of this period. In tumultuous Judea under Roman oppression, Jewish leaders faced the constant dilemma between preserving order in the Temple of Jerusalem and yielding to the demands of Roman authorities to maintain political control and prevent revolts. Annas and Caiaphas, as prominent figures, played crucial roles in this complex context. Religious leadership feared popular uprisings and the loss of privileges under Roman rule. Jesus' role in spreading Christianity was revolutionary and challenging to Judea's established structures. His teachings and miracles attracted a growing community of followers, generating concern and fear among religious leaders, especially Caiaphas and Annas. Representing the priestly elite, Caiaphas and Annas feared that Jesus' charisma and popularity could trigger a popular revolt amid the existing tensions of Roman occupation. The possibility of a charismatic figure uniting the masses around ideas challenging established authorities was a cause for great apprehension. This fear led to the conception of a plan for the capture and arrest of Jesus. Aware that a public arrest could result in riots, Caiaphas and Annas opted for a more cautious approach, discreetly acting to neutralize Jesus before his growing influence became a real threat. The plan was meticulously devised by Caiaphas, known for his political cunning, who led the initiative by capitalizing on the betrayal of Judas Iscariot, one of Jesus' closest followers. Caiaphas and Annas identified an ideal opportunity to achieve their goals when Judas, motivated by personal reasons or disillusionment, volunteered to secretly hand over Jesus. Thus, at the opportune moment when Jesus was out of the public's reach and in an environment less likely to cause uproar, the plan was set in motion. The arrest took place during the night, eliminating the possibility of an immediate reaction from the masses. Caiaphas and Annas, concerned about preserving order and their authority, ensured that Jesus' arrest was conducted without fanfare, thereby avoiding the risk of an imminent revolt. At the heart of the plot against Jesus, Caiaphas played a preeminent role in the Sanhedrin, the Jewish council of religious leaders. He skillfully manipulated the process to justify Jesus' condemnation, showcasing his political acumen by claiming that sacrificing Jesus was necessary to prevent revolts and maintain peace in the nation. This strategy aimed to preserve not only political stability but also the privileges and power of the religious leadership. In front of Pilate, the Roman governor, Jesus faced a staged trial marked by false accusations. CAIPHAS, representing the Jewish leadership, pressed for a decision that would lead to crucifixion. CAIPHAS's motivations were clear: the elimination of Jesus was perceived as a necessary measure to preserve the status quo and avoid any perceived threat to religious and political authority. The decision to crucify Jesus was not just an act of punishment but a calculated strategy to protect the interests of the Jewish religious leadership. Annas and Caiaphas, amid their tensions and fears, played determining roles in this outcome. The crucifixion of Jesus became an emblematic event, highlighting the complexities of the relations between Jewish leaders and Roman authorities in Judea in the 2nd century after Christ. After Jesus' death, the post-crucifixion period revealed the persistence of Caiaphas's influence, who refused to accept evidence of Jesus' resurrection. His denial of acknowledging this transformative event demonstrates the resistance of Jewish religious leadership to accepting any challenge to their established authority. Caiaphas's refusal to accept the resurrection was not just a matter of theological disagreement but also a reaction to an event that shook the foundations of religious leadership at the time. The resurrection of Jesus represented a validation of the messages and teachings he had delivered, something Caiaphas and his peers were not willing to accept as it would question their own authority and decisions made against Jesus. In addition to rejecting the resurrection, Caiaphas played an active role in persecuting followers of Jesus. These persecutions were an extension of the Jewish leadership's resistance to the spread of new beliefs that emerged around the figure of Jesus. Caiaphas, representing a religious authority threatened by the growing Christian communities, sought to suppress the spread of what he considered a threat to the established order. His involvement in persecutions included authorizing the arrest of Jesus's followers and even approving the persecution of prominent figures, such as Stephen, one of the early deacons of the early Christian church. His vigorous stance against Christians reflected his determination to maintain the cohesion and authority of Jewish leadership, even in the face of the growing Christian movement challenging their traditional beliefs. Annas, in turn, after playing a prominent role in the religious leadership of Judea, had a fate that extended beyond the events surrounding Jesus' death. His reputation for corruption and excesses in religious practices marked him as a controversial figure. After the crucifixion of Jesus, Annas continued to exert his influence in the Temple of Jerusalem. His prominent position was not limited to the immediate period after Jesus' death but extended, demonstrating the resilience of his authority even in the face of political and religious changes. However, historical records indicate that Annas eventually met his end at the hands of the Romans around the year 70 AD. This event marked the conclusion of Annas's life, but his influence and fame persisted even after his death. Annas's reputation for corruption was associated with questionable practices in the temple, including the trading of animals and currency exchange, as mentioned in the Gospels. These commercial activities in the temple, although lucrative, contributed to Annas's and other religious leaders' negative reputation at the time. The continuation of Annas's influence after Jesus' death can be observed in the subsequent actions of his descendants. The priestly dynasty established by Annas endured, with some of his sons and relatives holding the position of high priest. On the other hand, the final fate of Caiaphas is somewhat curious. Some time later, during the construction of a road in a park south of ancient Jerusalem, archaeologists stumbled upon a tomb that, upon examination, turned out to be the final resting place of members of Caiaphas's family. The most elaborate tomb bore the inscription of the name Joseph, identified as a son of Caiaphas's family. This discovery not only brought the existence of the tomb to light but also sparked heated debates about its authenticity. The authenticity of the finding was questioned by some scholars and archaeologists, leading to intense debate within the academic community. Advocates for authenticity point to the correlation between the description of the tomb and the historical accounts of Flavius Josephus, a Jewish historian of the time. The inscription of the name Joseph, a son of Caiaphas's family, aligns with the narratives documented by Josephus, adding a level of credibility to the discovery. However, skeptics question authenticity based on various points, including the possibility of forgery or selective interpretation of evidence. The debate remains open, and archaeologists continue to meticulously analyze the tomb for more clues that may shed light on its origin and connection to Caiaphas. The biblical narrative with Caiaphas and Annas as central figures invites reflection on the nature of power, the responsibility of leadership, and the ethical challenges that arise when personal interests collide with higher principles. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and click on one of these 2 videos that will appear on your screen. I'm sure you'll love them. Stay with God, see you soon.